The quantum tunnel drive is fully operational. We're not just escaping Council space, we're moving faster than their ships can even imagine. Kate's pulse quickened. The tunnel drive had been humanity's wildest gamble, a last-ditch leap into the unknown. The alien powers had faster-than-light travel, sure, but it was clunky, methodical, and easy to track. Human scientists had taken a different path. They didn't just travel through space, they folded it. Now, instead of flying across the stars, Earth's ships could step from one point to another almost instantly. "What kind of distances are we talking about?" Kate asked. Dr. Cooper didn't hesitate. "Journeys that take their fastest cruisers 6 months. We can do them in under 6 hours. And the real beauty, our jump signatures leave nothing behind. No trail, no trace. To their senses, we just disappear, then reappear somewhere else." Across the control room, Lieutenant Amy Foster scanned transmissions from the outbound colony ships. She had taken this post for one reason. Her brother was aboard one of those generation vessels. She was determined to keep the families safe on their perilous run toward freedom. "Admiral," Amy called out. "Incoming message from Captain Roy Martinez aboard the Pioneer. He's reached the Veil Nebula. Says he's found something incredible." The main screen blinked to life, revealing Captain Martinez, steady-eyed, calm-voiced, the kind of leader who could steady a whole crew with a glance. Behind him, through the viewport, swirled the luminous clouds of the Veil Nebula, glowing with color and motion. A stellar painting in constant motion. "Admiral Sullivan," Roy began, "we have discovered something the Council never bothered to investigate. This nebula contains 7 planets that are perfect for human life. The gas clouds hide these worlds from long-range sensors, which explains why the aliens never found them. We could build cities here that would remain invisible for centuries." Kate smiled for the first time in weeks. "Excellent work, Captain. Begin establishing our first hidden colony. You have full authority to start construction of permanent settlements." Meanwhile, in a secret facility deep underground on Earth, Professor Helen Davis was making final preparations for the next phase of their escape plan. She was the brilliant woman who had first figured out how to make the quantum tunnel drive work. Her laboratory was filled with machines that hummed and sparked with energy that seemed to bend the air around them. "The beauty of our situation," she explained to her research team, "is that the aliens made a critical error in their understanding of human nature. They saw our conflicts and assumed we were weak. They never realized that our greatest strength comes from the pressure of difficult situations." Her assistant, Dr. Scott Turner, nodded while checking the power levels on their latest prototype drive. "They wanted to cage us, but they gave us the motivation to break every scientific barrier that ever held us back. In 3 years, we have advanced our technology by what should have taken 50 years of normal research." Back on Lunar Base, Kate was reviewing reports from all their secret operations, and the numbers were staggering. 12 generation ships had already left the solar system, carrying over 1 million people. 47 colony ships had established hidden settlements on worlds the Council did not know existed. Most importantly, 36 manufacturing stations were already producing the resources needed to build even more ships. "Commander Torres," Kate said, "what is the status of our deception operations here in the solar system?" Ben smiled broadly. "Perfect, Admiral. Our ships are maintaining completely normal patrol patterns around Earth and Mars. The Council's spy drones are detecting exactly what we want them to see. As far as they know, humanity has accepted defeat and is staying quietly within the boundaries they set for us." Kate walked to the large window that looked out at Earth from space. Their home planet looked peaceful and beautiful, with white clouds swirling over blue oceans and green continents. But she knew that beneath that peaceful appearance, humanity was working harder than ever before to ensure their survival and freedom. "They made one terrible mistake," Kate said quietly, They thought that rejecting us would make us smaller and weaker. Instead, they forced us to become something greater than we ever could have been with their help. Dr. Cooper joined her at the window, looking down at the world that had given birth to humanity's greatest adventure. Admiral, in 6 months, we will have enough ships and colonies to ensure that humanity can never be destroyed or contained again. And the aliens will never see it coming until it is far too late to stop us. Kate nodded, thinking about all the families who were now living free among the stars, building new homes and new lives far from the Council's control. They wanted to write the end of humanity's story. Instead, they just gave us the greatest beginning we could have asked for. 5 years had passed since the Galactic Council had dismissed humanity as unworthy of joining their civilization. Ambassador Cathar sat in his comfortable office on the Council homeworld, reviewing routine reports from across the galaxy. The humans had been quiet, just as he had expected. Their ships stayed within their solar system, and their communications suggested a defeated species that had accepted their place in the universe. Kafur felt satisfied with the Council's decision. The humans had proven themselves to be exactly what he had predicted, a weak species that would fade into insignificance when faced with superior opposition. He barely glanced at the surveillance reports from the Sol system anymore, confident that humanity posed no threat to galactic order. This peaceful morning was shattered when Commander Zixtal of the Andromedian fleet burst through the office doors without waiting for permission to enter. His tentacles were writhing in patterns that indicated extreme distress, and his normally calm voice was high with panic. "Ambassador Keffer!" Zixtal gasped, his breathing rapid and uneven. "We have an emergency situation that requires immediate Council attention. Something is happening in the Outer Rim territories, and we do not understand what we are facing." Keffer sat down his reports, annoyed by the interruption, but curious about what could cause such alarm in a seasoned military commander. "Explain the situation, Commander. What has happened?" 3 of our major mining operations have completely disappeared," Zixtal said, his tentacles still moving frantically. "The Kepler station, the VGA complex, and the Centauri mining platform, all 3 were fully operational one day and completely gone the next." Kafur's 4 eyes focused sharply on the commander. "Gone? Do you mean destroyed?" "No, sir. That is what makes this so disturbing. There were no signs of battle, no debris, no distress signals. The facilities simply vanished. When our investigation teams arrived, they found empty space where fully credited operations had been operating just hours before." The ambassador stood up, his mind racing through possibilities. Could this be the work of the Krellian raiders? They have been more active lately. Commander Zixtal shook his head vigorously. "The Krellians destroy what they cannot steal. These facilities were not destroyed. They were removed, completely, as if someone had carefully taken apart every piece and transported it elsewhere. The precision required for such an operation is beyond anything the Krellians possess." Kafur activated his communication device and called for an emergency council session. Within hours, representatives from all 12-member species had gathered in the Great Chamber, their voices creating a chaos of concerned discussion. "Show them what we found," Keffer ordered. Commander Zixtal activated the holographic projector in the center of the chamber. The image that appeared made several council members gasp in surprise. A sleek vessel, unlike anything in their databases, moved through space with grace and speed that seemed impossible. This ship was detected near the location where the Santi mining platform disappeared, Zixtal explained. "Our sensors could barely track it, and the propulsion system appears to use principles we do not understand. The energy readings suggest some form of space manipulation that our science considers theoretical at best." The crystalline collective's representative pulsed with agitated light. The design is completely unknown. The materials appear to be composite structures that we have never encountered. How is this possible? Far from the council chambers, in the hidden colony of New Geneva, Dr. Rachel Foster reviewed the intelligence reports that her teams had gathered from council space. As Director of Human Colonial Administration, she was responsible for coordinating the activities of 43 established human colonies and over 200 million people living freely across the galaxy. The Council's mining operations were easier to relocate than we expected, she reported to her staff during their weekly meeting. Their security systems all use the same basic design. So once our teams learned how to bypass the first installation, the others presented no challenge. Chief Engineer Pete Morgan nodded with satisfaction. The relocated facilities are already operational in our hidden sectors. The Kepler station alone will provide enough rare metals to accelerate our shipbuilding program by 2 full years. The workers from all 3 facilities had integrated well into their colonies and seemed relieved to be away from council oversight. Dr. Foster smiled at this news. One of humanity's greatest discoveries had been that many species within council space were not happy with their government's rigid control. When human rescue teams had arrived at the mining stations, they had expected to find frightened workers who would resist being moved. Instead, they found people eager to join a civilization that offered more freedom and opportunity. Meanwhile, aboard the human vessel R's Edge, Captain Rick Stone was leading another resource-gathering mission in a distant part of the galaxy. His ship was one of the new quantum tunnel designs that could appear anywhere in space without warning and disappear just as quickly. "Captain," called out his science officer, Dr. Nancy Bell, "we are detecting another council mining operation in this sector. The facility appears to be extracting rare crystals that would be extremely useful for our computer systems." Rick nodded thoughtfully. "Any signs of council military presence?" "Negative, sir. The facility has only basic security, and the nearest patrol ship is 6 hours away at maximum speed. If we move quickly, we can complete the relocation before anyone realizes what has happened." Intelligence Officer Greg Adams looked up from his monitoring station with a grin. "Captain, the best part is that the Council still has no idea who is responsible for these disappearances. Their intelligence services are completely baffled. They are investigating every known species in the galaxy, except the one that is actually responsible." Back in the council chamber, the emergency session was growing more heated as representatives demanded answers that no one could provide. The Thraxian delegates' scales had turned deep red with frustration, while the energy beings flickered with agitated patterns. "We must increase patrols immediately," the Thraxian demanded. "If there is an unknown force operating in our territory, we need to identify them before they become a serious threat to galactic stability." Council Prime Nexus materialized in his most imposing form, crackling with energy. "I am authorizing the deployment of our most advanced sensor networks throughout Council space. Whatever is responsible for these incidents will not remain hidden for long." Ambassador Kafur felt a cold worry growing in his mind. In all his years of galactic politics, he had never encountered a situation like this. An unknown force with superior technology was operating freely within Council space, and they had no idea who they were facing or what their ultimate goals might be. "Commander Zixtal," he said quietly, "I want every available ship searching for more evidence of these intruders. Someone with this level of technological capability did not appear overnight. They have been planning and preparing for years." What none of them realized was that the unknown force had indeed been planning for years, but it was a force they had created themselves through their own arrogance and short-sightedness. The humans they had dismissed as primitive and contained were now operating throughout the galaxy with technology that made council science look ancient. The galaxy was about to learn that underestimating humanity had been the greatest mistake in the history of galactic civilization. The moment of truth came when the council patrol ship, Eternal Vigilance, was making its routine sweep near the Veil Nebula. Captain Fellenex, a veteran officer with 30 years of service, was reviewing sensor data when his ship's detection systems registered an unexpected energy signature moving through the nebula's thick gas clouds. "Unknown vessel detected," announced his sensor operator, a young Zelthine named Krixt. "The energy pattern does not match any ship in our databases." Captain Fellenex stood up from his command chair, his 4 eyes focusing on the main display screen. "Show me the vessel." The image that appeared made his breath catch in his throat. The ship was sleek and elegant, with lines that seemed to flow like water frozen in metal. Its hull reflected the nebula's lights in ways that made it seem almost alive. But what shocked him most was the complete absence of any council design elements. This was clearly the work of an unknown civilization. "Send a standard identification request," Fellenex ordered. "Demand immediate surrender for unauthorized presence in council space." On the bridge of the human vessel Rear's Edge, Captain Tyler Brooks watched the alien ship approach with calm attention. He had been expecting this encounter for months. His crew was ready, and the moment had finally come to reveal humanity's presence to the galaxy. "Incoming transmission, Captain," reported Communications Officer Paul Martinez. "They are demanding identification and immediate surrender." Tyler stood slowly, straightening his uniform jacket. After 5 years of secret operations, he was about to become the first human to officially contact the Galactic Council since their rejection. The weight of history pressed down on his shoulders, but his voice remained steady. "Open a channel, Lieutenant Martinez. It is time to show them what humanity has become." Captain Fellenex expected to see another alien species, perhaps one that had been hiding in unexplored space. What he did not expect was the face that appeared on his communication screen. The being looked almost exactly like the humans he had studied in the Council files. But that was impossible. Humans were contained in their home system, under constant surveillance, with no ability to travel beyond their solar boundaries. "Impossible," Fellenex whispered, his voice barely audible. "Your species is confined to the solar system. Our sensors show no human activity beyond your home worlds." Tyler smiled, but there was no warmth in his expression. "Captain, your sensors show exactly what we want them to show. While your council has been congratulating itself on containing humanity, we have been building a civilization that spans dozens of star systems across the galaxy." The implications hit Captain Fellenex like a physical blow. If humans were operating freely in space, then everything the Council believed about their containment was wrong. More disturbing, it meant that humans possessed technology advanced enough to hide their activities from Council sensors. "How many?" Fellenex asked, his voice shaking. "How many human colonies exist?" Tyler's smile grew wider. "Enough." Within hours, emergency communications were flooding the Council homeworld. The news spread like wildfire through the government halls, causing panic among officials who had spent years believing that humanity was safely contained. Emergency sessions were called, and representatives from all member species gathered to discuss this shocking development. Ambassador Kafur found himself in the most hostile council meeting of his career. The carefully maintained order of galactic politics was crumbling as the truth emerged. Representatives who had supported the decision to reject humanity were now demanding explanations for how such a massive failure of intelligence could have occurred. "You assured us that human activities were being monitored," accused the crystalline collective's representative, their form pulsing with angry light. "You told us they lacked the technology to escape their system without detection." Kafur struggled to maintain his composure. "Our surveillance systems are the most advanced in the galaxy. If humans are operating beyond their system, they must have developed technology that exceeds our understanding." The answer to their questions came from an unexpected source. Dr. Rachel Foster, now a confident leader of human colonial operations, appeared on the chamber's main communication screen via quantum transmission. Her image was clear and stable, transmitted from her headquarters on New Geneva, a thriving world that the Council had never known existed. "Honourable Council members," she began with false politeness, "allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. Rachel Foster, Director of the Human Colonial Administration. I believe you have some questions about our activities." The chamber fell silent. Here was proof that not only were humans operating freely in space, but they had established formal government structures and were confident enough to reveal themselves directly to the Council. "How many colonies?" demanded the Fraxian representative, her scales shifting to deep red. "How many humans are living in Council space without authorization?" Dr. Foster consulted a device in her hand, as if checking recent statistics. 43 fully established colonies, each with populations ranging from 2 million to 15 million citizens. Approximately 230 million humans are now living freely throughout the galaxy. The numbers were staggering. The Council had believed that fewer than 10 billion humans existed, all confined to their home system. Now they were learning that nearly 250 million humans had somehow escaped and established a shadow empire without being detected. "Furthermore," Dr. Foster continued, "thanks to your rejection of our membership application, we have been forced to become completely self-sufficient. We no longer need Council technology, Council resources, or Council permission for anything." Council Prime Nexus materialized in his most imposing form, energy crackling around his mechanical shell. "This deception ends immediately. We demand compliance with galactic law and the surrender of all illegal settlements." Dr. Foster's laugh was sharp and cold. "Galactic law? You mean the laws that declared humanity unworthy of citizenship? The laws that banned us from Council space? We are simply following your instructions by staying away from your civilization." The logic was brutal and undeniable. By rejecting humanity and banning them from Council space, the Council had given up any right to control human activities outside their territory. Humans had simply found their own space and built their own civilization. "You wanted us to prove ourselves worthy," Dr. Foster continued. "We have exceeded every measure of worthiness you could imagine. We have eliminated poverty on all our worlds. We have developed clean energy that powers entire star systems. We have created art and literature that inspires millions. We have built cities that would amaze even your most advanced architects." Ambassador Kafur found his voice, though it came out weaker than he intended. "What do you want from us?" "Want?" Dr. Foster seemed genuinely surprised by the question. "We wanted your acceptance once, but you taught us we did not need it. We wanted your friendship, but you showed us we are stronger alone. We wanted to join your civilization, but you forced us to build our own." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The galaxy is vast enough for both our civilizations. Stay out of our space, and we will respect your borders. But understand this, the age of unchallenged Council supremacy is over." The transmission ended, leaving the Council chamber in stunned silence. Every representative sat motionless, trying to process the magnitude of what they had just witnessed. They had not just failed to contain humanity, they had accidentally created their greatest rival. As the reality settled over them, one thought echoed through every mind in the chamber. It was too late to change what they had done. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the shocking revelation of humanity's escape, Admiral Kate Sullivan stood once again in the Galactic Council chamber. But this time, everything was different. She was not here as a supplicant, begging for acceptance. She came as the leader of an equal civilization, backed by the full power of humanity's hidden empire. The council members sat in their ancient seats, but their confident arrogance had been replaced by nervous uncertainty. They had spent months trying to understand how badly they had miscalculated, and the answers they found had shaken their faith in their own superiority. "Honourable council members," Admiral Sullivan began, her voice carrying the authority of someone who no longer needed their approval. "You requested this meeting to discuss the terms of our coexistence. I am here to show you exactly what humanity has accomplished while you believed us to be safely contained." The chamber's holographic display activated, showing a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Council space appeared in blue, with their established trade routes marked in green. But what took their breath away were the red indicators scattered throughout the galaxy, each one representing human presence in areas the Council had never explored. "While you were congratulating yourselves on keeping us trapped," Admiral Sullivan continued, "we established colonies and star systems you did not even know existed. We developed technologies that make your fastest ships look like ancient relics. We built trade networks with species you have never contacted." Ambassador Kafir leaned forward, his 4 eyes wide with disbelief. "Impossible. Our exploration ships have mapped every habitable system in the galaxy." Dr. Mark Thompson, humanity's chief scientist, stepped forward carrying a device that looked deceptively simple. It was about the size of a briefcase, with smooth surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. "Ambassador, this is a quantum space folder. With it, we can create stable tunnels between any 2 points in the galaxy, allowing instantaneous travel across distances that would take your ships months to cross." The demonstration that followed broke the Council's understanding of physics. Dr. Thompson activated the device, and a shimmering portal opened in the air above the chamber. Through it, they could see a bustling human city on a distant world, with millions of people going about their daily lives under an alien sun. "Travel time to this colony," Dr. Thompson announced calmly, "is 0. We step through the portal and arrive instantly, regardless of distance." A probe was sent through the portal, appearing simultaneously on the distant world and transmitting clear signals back to the chamber. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just achieved faster-than-light travel, they had made distance itself irrelevant. But the most devastating revelation came from Commander Su Chun, Director of Human Intelligence Operations. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but her words carried the weight of terrible knowledge. "We have been monitoring your communications for the past 3 years," she announced quietly. "We know about your resource shortages in the outer territories. We know about the growing conflicts between member species over trade disputes. We know about your fears concerning the expanding dark matter anomaly at the galaxy's edge." The council members exchanged worried glances. If humans had been monitoring their most secret communications, then no council secrets were safe. Commander Chun continued, her voice growing softer, but somehow more intimidating. "The mining operations you lost in the outer rim, the ones that simply vanished without explanation? We did not destroy them. We relocated them to safety zones before the dark matter expansion consumed that entire sector." Ambassador Keffer felt his world shift beneath him. You saved them? "Despite your treatment of us, We are still human, Admiral Sullivan replied. We protect life, even when that life belongs to those who rejected us. The 15,000 workers from those mining stations are now living safely in our colonies, along with their families and all the equipment that would have been lost. The chamber fell into stunned silence as the full truth settled over them like a heavy blanket. In their arrogance, they had created their own greatest rival. In their fear, they had forced humanity to become everything they claimed to oppose. In their blindness, they had missed the opportunity to guide and learn from a species that could have been their greatest ally. Council Prime Nexus dimmed his energy form to its lowest setting, a gesture of submission rarely seen in galactic politics. What do you want from us now? Admiral Sullivan looked around the chamber, taking in the faces of beings who had once seemed so powerful and wise. Now they looked small and frightened, overwhelmed by the consequences of their own decisions. Nothing, she said simply. We wanted your acceptance once, but you taught us we do not need it. We wanted your friendship, but you showed us we are stronger without it. We wanted to join your civilization, but you forced us to build something better. She turned toward the exit, then paused to deliver her final words. The galaxy is vast enough for both our civilizations to exist. Stay out of our territory, and we will respect your borders. But remember this day. And remember that you chose to make humanity your rival through rejection, rather than your ally through acceptance. Dr. Thompson added one last piece of information that made the Council's situation even more clear. Our latest census shows that human population growth has accelerated significantly since we began our colonial expansion. We now have over 300 million citizens across 67 worlds, and that number grows by millions every year. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Commander Chun offered one final gesture that perfectly demonstrated the difference between human and council values. Despite everything that has happened between us, humanity extends an offer of assistance. The dark matter expansion will reach your core worlds within 50 years. Our technology can help protect your populations when that time comes. Why would you help us after what we did to you? Asked the Crystalline Collective's representative, their form pulsing with confused patterns. Admiral Sullivan smiled, and for the first time, it was genuine warmth in her expression. Because that is who we are. You saw our conflicts and called us violent. You saw our struggles and called us weak. But you never understood that our greatest strength comes from our ability to protect others, even those who have wronged us. As the human delegation walked through the massive doors for the final time, the council sat in defeated silence. They had thought themselves the masters of the galaxy, but they had just witnessed the rise of a civilization that surpassed them in every way that mattered. The age of unchallenged council supremacy was over. The age of humanity had begun, built not on conquest or domination, but on the simple human values of protection, growth, and the endless drive to explore what lay beyond the next star. And it was far too late for the Council to change the course they had set in motion.